Greetings and welcome to episode 6 of the Weekly Review, our weekly podcast where we sit down and review the video games that we have been playing recently. Yeah, that'll do. I'm your host, Amy K. Alexander, joined this week by Mr. Daffod Mooney.
Hello, everybody. How are we all doing on this Sunday?
Well, Biden won. It's pretty
Biden
good.
won. America is. There's hope in America again. I feel like there's hope in the air for once. So
it's
2024, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming for you, Johnson, and you Tory bastards.
it's been a long 4 years
For
where
them.
it's like I feel like Brexit just started like this whole snowball of like
Oh, it did.
terrible
It did.
events.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Um, yes, but Biden won.
hmm
Is he my idea? Would like, and as some speaking as someone who lives in the UK, not in America, and lives vicariously through the US, because good things have happened there, and nothing good ever happens here. Like, is he my ideal preferred candidate? Nah. Is he better than Trump? Yeah.
Trump's bar wasn't hard to jump, but
not a
Biden did
not
it.
a high bar, but he
Yeah.
jumped it.
Yeah, well, I'll give credit for one thing. That speech he did yesterday, spectacular.
It's good. It was good. It was a
It
good
was a
speech.
good ass speech. He must have learned it from the president he was VP to.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Like, my question about the speech is it just that like us like it was a good speech? Was it as good, or is it just that we've had 4 years of the orange idiot? Like, we'll take anything we can get. Like, like you're in the desert and you get like a couple of drops of water, and it's like the best thing ever.
It's a good speech.
It was a good speech.
It was a good speech.
It was like, if
It
nothing
came across.
else,
Go on, sorry.
it was good just because you called your character in Among Us last night Biden. And I got a shout, "Get down, Mr. President!" when we played hide and seek, and
Yeah,
it was that for that alone, it was worth it.
yeah. It was. Yeah. I feel like there's hope in the air for once. We haven't had it for a long time, and this year has been so shit. It's been so shit, and
Now the games have been good.
the games have been fantastic. We can't deny that. Like Last of Us Part 2, still best game of 2020 by a mile. Nothing's going to beat it at all, so it doesn't make a difference. But yeah, absolutely a great year for games overall. Like we've had obviously Nintendo have had a great one game year
I was gonna
where they just
say,
dominated the year with one game.
I was setting up my background, and I was like, "Shit, where have I left?" Because I've been playing NHL on the Xbox. I bought a couple of indie games that I'm gonna talk about on PS4, and I was like, and I just looked at my Switch controller because I couldn't find my other two, and I was like, well, it's just my Switch controller because I can't be bothered looking for them. They're like over there somewhere. And then I looked at the Switch controller. I was like, when was the last time I even picked this up?
How rotten are my turnips right now?
Like, I played Super Mario Bros. 35 for the first episode of this podcast, but apart from that, I'm pretty sure I haven't played anything since I stopped playing Animal Crossing. I was like,
I've been
good
in and
lord.
out with Pokemon right now, but I haven't done enough on the DLC yet to make a discussion about it yet. But yeah, great years, great games this year. Just shame about the films because there's been nothing to watch.
Sorry.
Been nothing to watch.
While our podcast here has flourished, unfortunately, has floundered. Moody's movie podcast has floundered a little bit this year.
Yeah, this week's episode was really funny because there was no news at all because everyone was glued to their screens to
Yeah.
see
I
how
mean,
fast it took to count some votes.
yeah, we had that problem.
Yeah, we we ranked the MCU Phase 1, 2, and 3
Oh, bloody hell.
on a tier system. When I basically in the episode, when I said many times, I can hear the fanboys screaming at how wrong we are. If you've listened to the episode already, you'll know that I'm going to release the picture of the tier system
Oh, good.
of our rank tomorrow. So
Are you releasing that on Twitter?
yes, I will release it.
Expect my 27 tweet critique.
And
Shortly
I will say
after.
right now, it's Henry's fault. I'm just going to bring that right now. Henry's fault. That's my go-to. It's Henry's fault. He got fired a few times on this episode, like he always does. But
so is it like S tier, A tier, or B tier?
A star, A, B, C, D, F. Didn't like E.
Is Winter Soldier in A star tier.
You'll have to listen to the latest episode of the Glorious Movie Show.
Oh, he's not answering, which means he'd expect my 27 tweet critique to now be a 39 tweet critique. And I will count the tweets. You are just going to get your notifications.
Why is that one not there? Why have you done this wrong?
Oh, no.
Why am I blaming you?
It won't be why this, why that. It will literally just be, okay, here's why you're wrong.
Here's why you're wrong. And I'm going to explain why you're wrong.
And I'm going to explain why you're wrong in 39 tweets, and your notifications are going to explode tomorrow.
That 39 tweets is going to be one sentence.
Don't think I don't have the time.
We all have time.
We all have the time these days. This isn't a movie podcast, though. It's the weekly review, so we should probably just crack on. We got 4 games to talk about this week. We're talking about Phasmophobia. We're talking Little Hope. We're talking Superliminal, and we're talking Telling Lies. So let's start with the latest indie game Twitch sensation that we both played midweek with our good friend Foxes, who I hope his hangover wasn't too bad.
Probably was. He was celebrating last night.
Let's talk about Phasmophobia, which is an indie horror game in early access, where you get a bunch of friends together or go it alone, and you basically reenact one of those shitty but entertaining ghost hunting TV shows, with where you get all the different tools and equipment, like the cameras and the spirit boxes and the EMF readers, and you go looking for ghosts. And then if, in my experience, those ghosts kill you because Moody told them to. Not that I was pissed.
I even enticed them to go, come and have a go if you think you had enough.
Yeah, they did, and they
came and had a go.
And they were hard enough.
Me.
They were also hard enough. Yeah. Yeah. So this is like it's a co-op multiplayer horror game, right? And the thing about co-op multiplayer horror games is they're generally not scary because you're with your friends. In the voice chat, or you're sitting in the same room and you're having a laugh and, hello, let's have fun, as you do when you're playing games with friends, because that's the idea, right? You have fun with them. Phasmophobia is somehow a good laugh where you're with your friends and you're having fun and you're chatting and you're joking around and having a laugh, and then there are moments in the game where it turns on a dime and it's somehow terrifying, even though you are with your friends. Like, that was my experience of the game. Like, we were all on our first investigation, we went into the house, and we were having, the footage is actually on the screen right now, and we were having a good joke around, and it was like, cool, the ghost only responds to people who are alone, and we need to test this spirit box. Now, alright, here's the spirit box. Stand in the room where we knew the ghost was. Those two go out and they watch the cameras, and I'm just there, and it's like, hello, is there anybody there? And it was just like solid 2 or 3 minutes of just me in absolute terror.
Yep. Pretty much. Me and Fox was laughing our ass.
Yeah, but like I could still hear you guys laughing and having fun and having a good time, but it didn't blunt the terror for me because I was in this dark room by myself. Like, hello, and then like you'd see the ghost and pop up, and I'd be like, no. And they're like, oh, we saw that on the camera, and I'm like, oh, that's good.
That's so good.
The spirit box isn't working.
It's not helping me, no, because you saw it.
So yeah, do you want to talk about your top level Phasmophobia thoughts?
It's a really fun little game. Shout out to the man who created this, like a one-man game. No experience on engines whatsoever. Respect to him. I'm learning engines at college right now, and it is a pain in the ass. Fun, but it's a pain in the backside. But this was I had no idea what this game was. Amy told me about it multiple times. It went through one ear and came out the other, no offense. And eventually, but I did it. I thought, it's only a tenner. Why not? I'll have a look at this. Why not? So I told her, got it. We played it on Wednesday with our good friend Foxes at Red Video Fox on Twitter, even though he doesn't really go on Twitter.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it's a basic game, but it is fun and it's creepy and it can be terrifying at sometimes.
Oh,
there are parts where I am literally egging on the ghost like hell, and I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever, because it was just like, I'm going to egg this fucker on. Come on, Have a go if you think you had enough, basically. I was trying to be a Scouser. Come and have a go if you think you had enough. I don't even think that was a Scouser name. Scout accent. I
Not even
apologize.
close.
Whoever I offended there. Unless you're a Geordie, then I take it all back. But there's our dislikes for the day. But no, yeah, it's the game. The level, the controls are basic and can be clunky, but I still had fun. And it
Oh
has some
God, yeah.
it has some forgiving issues for because of the fun and terrifyingness to it. Like I said, it is a what is it? Early access, so there's still got a lot of way to go to make this game to probably what he wants it to be and everything. But just what he's done for the basicness to it, it's somehow terrifying, and that's brilliant. Again, I take my cap off to him if I was wearing one.
Yeah, like I mean, the like we were playing with Foxes who like because the reason we nailed down a time to actually play it was last Saturday when we were playing Among Us, and you were like, "Oh, Foxes is busy," and I saw him while we were playing Among Us pop up on Steam, like, "Oh, he's playing Phasmophobia," and I was like, he plays Phasmophobia," and then when I
Yeah.
checked out, it's like, "Oh, he's got like 30 hours in it," and I was like, "I know how I'm getting moody into this."
Level 99 where we go with it.
And yeah, so like even like he's played the game a ton, and and like even in the first thing we did where it was mine and Moody's very first match,
Yeah.
and like we were in that room and like the ghost popped up in the corner and all three of us were like ah, like even Foxes who's like played the game for like 30 hours is still scared of it and still gets
Yep.
scared in it. Like there was the absolutely amazing Twitch clip that I have of me and Foxes in that one room, and we just stood and the ghost popped up, and we were both just like, and everyone, including the ghost, just kind of started looking at each other until the ghost disappeared, and then we were like, "Ha, that was really funny." And then the lights started flashing like the ghost is hunting, and then it goes from "Oh my god, what do you do?" to the ghost disappears to us like going back to that jovial sort of "Ha ha ha, wasn't that really funny? Ha ha ha! Oh shit, run away! It's echoing! Ah!"
Pretty much. It's basically a horror movie every episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
Every
It's
part, yeah, all the time. All the things, it has all the cliches of what a horror movie has, but somehow worked effectively. It
yeah,
may not work on it may not work on a horror movie because half the time they suck, but for this it just worked.
yeah, like all of the tropes and stuff, like let's split up to try and like find the ghost, and you know what I mean, like those tropes where you just scream at the screen like, "No, what are you doing?" Whereas in the game, it's just like, "Yeah, we'll split up," and it's like, "Okay, cool, that makes perfect sense."
It makes perfect sense, of course.
Of course,
Let's
we
go
would do
off.
that. Yes,
Let's go
let's
off into the school by
yes, let's
ourselves.
leave Moody in the school by himself while we look for ghost orbs on the cameras. Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Like when I'm getting told by foxes, "Oh, Moody, run! She's hunting for you." Wait, what?
Yeah, I was like on the cameras, like, "No, don't go that way. Go left. Go." You're like, "How do I get out? She's locked the doors."
You can't get out. You just gotta hide and suffer. What? No.
Yeah,
But
so
thankfully,
like
she didn't find me.
it is janky. It is definitely an early access indie game made by one person. Like you can see the reused assets all over the place. Where it's like you'll see the same doll like everywhere in the game, or you'll see it like that one farmhouse we went to where there was like 20 axes everywhere. Um, I mean, the 20 axe thing just added to the atmosphere because it was just like, why is there so many axes everywhere? This is really
Yeah,
scary.
the ghost like Daxus.
Yeah, clearly. Um, but it's like you can see all of that, and like I talk a lot about. Obviously, we talk a lot about games, and we review a lot of games, and there are games whose problems will impact the enjoyment or will drag the experience down. And we talk about that frequently. But there are also games like Phasmophobia, where the game like has its flaws and it has its faults and it has its issues. And we could talk about all of those things, but in the end, they don't impact the experience all that much because it's just like, oh, like the controls are a bit funky, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes like when I was putting the cameras in that dining room, and I dropped the camera and it ended up in the fucking practically in the ceiling. Like it just glitched out and went fucking in the ceiling, and it's like it was funny, you know what I mean, because it was a funny bug, but it wasn't like impacting the game in any way because I was still having loads of fun, and I just needed to grab it and and I'll
Yeah.
put it down again, and it works. Like, and that's like it. There aren't many games that do that, and I want to like tip my hat to Phasmophobia, bearing in mind it's a game that's still in development as well. So this isn't like a final review or anything. And just say like that alone is a really big achievement.
Yeah.
Because you know me, like if a game's got problems, boy, I'll tell you about them. Boy, I'll tell you about them till next Monday.
Yeah, that's what we're going right now. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
What is
It
it?
has
This?
problems, but
Yeah.
it like I'll remember a quote. You can have many cons, but you only need a couple of major pros to outweigh those cons, and the pros outweigh the cons on this. Like the cons are literally little ones it's still in development. It's clunky, it's reused assets, and everything like that. But the the frights you get from it, the fun, everything else like that. What you basically want in a horror game, you want fun and scares. You get that, and that's what it is. It's well
Yeah.
done. Like I say,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's a tenner. I would recommend it for anybody who likes to play with friends and everything like that. Give it a go.
It likes horror games. It's perfectly playable alone.
Yeah.
And it's available in virtual reality, and I'm not brave enough.
One
Sorry.
day, I mean.
One day I'll do it. Someone will have to.
Maybe on charity stream.
Maybe on a charity stream I'll play Phasmophobia, but I'm not doing it by myself. And I'll be damned if I'm getting locked in a room alone. No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's janky, it's clunky. The ghost models, if you actually look at them like properly and actually stare at them, they're not great.
Yeah.
But
that's why it's good where you hear it, where you see it always fast.
Yeah, it's always fast paced. You get a glimpse of it. Oh, it's coming towards you, but like your light's going fritzing out, and you don't really see the ghost the different ghosts. There are a lot of different types though. There's not just like one ghost, which is cool. We saw like 4 different types, including the one I followed up the stairs because I thought it was foxes and realized too late that it wasn't foxes.
Yeah, the last one for us.
Yeah, it's behind me on the stairs, but I'm behind you on the stairs, and then it just went, and I was like.
Yeah.
Like the investigations are really good. Like you get in, like you do quickly once you learn the game and you learn what you're actually trying to do, because you're trying to figure out what type of ghost it is by capturing different types of evidence. So it's like if the EMF level hits 5, for example, that's a type of evidence. If you find fingerprints with the UV light, that's a type of evidence.
Yeah.
And it becomes quite methodical, but at the same time, it doesn't like ever feel like it's pedestrian. Like we probably cycled through the same thing. Like every time we did an investigation, we probably cycled through the same things in the same order. Like we'd come out of the van, I'd have a thermometer, you'd have the EMF reader, and foxes would be carrying cameras around like everywhere. And then you narrow it down to the room, and then once you're in the room, then you start doing all of the tests. But like it's like Among Us. It's the same game over and over and over again, but it never feels like you're just repeating the same steps.
That's true.
Which is fantastic. I love all of the gadgets. The spirit box is obviously my favorite. When you're just like, what do you want? Kill. Why do you want to kill us? Death. Oh, great.
Where are you? Behind you.
Where are you? Behind you. Yeah, I love that one. Wait, where it was like, where are you? Behind you. And you turned around and I was stood behind you. And he just went, I was like, it's just me. It's just me. Yeah, like we have to talk as well like about the voice recognition in the game because it's fantastic. The game can hear you basically, which is great if you're a streamer. And you're like talking to chat, and it's like you need to be quiet, and it's like, but I need to talk to chat. And yeah, you can you can talk to the ghost, you can taunt the ghost, you can shout its name, you can ask it questions. If you've got a spirit box, it'll answer. There was one time in the school where I said, "Give me a sign," and it appeared right in front of me and started walking towards me with a hatchet in its hand. I was like, "Yep, that's a sign. The ghost is here."
That's definitely a sign. You kill foxes. That's definitely a sign.
We would just start watching foxes die slowly in the bathroom, like, "Oh, what do we do? I don't know."
He went to go take a picture of muddy water,
and then he just started
dying.
It was like, what do we do? Fox is little, you can't do anything.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
dead. I'm dead.
yeah, I think I've said everything I wanted to say about it. Like, it's just such a good time. Like, get a couple of friends on it, and just go for it. Like, it's up to 4 players. We only played with 3, um, and that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, I loved every moment we played it. Like, I was screaming so much at one point that somebody came in to check to make sure I was okay. And then when they found out I was okay, they told me to shut up.
That's life.
But genuinely, like, I'm gonna really enjoy continuing to play this game over the course of its early access life. I look forward to the review, and I look like it. It's just I'm gonna be glowing in my praise for this game. I feel like.
Hopefully, we'll cross some fingers. We're rooting for this game.
Oh, definitely. But we'll be playing it, so we'll definitely we'll definitely be able to keep you updated on it, because I plan to not make it a regular. It's not like going to be like Among Us Saturdays, which has just become a thing for us now. Um, but it'll definitely be keeping up with it every now and again. So shall we move on?
Yes.
Cool. You would never believe it was Halloween last weekend, because
No.
the next game we're talking about is also a horror game, and that was Little Hope. Which is the second game from the Dark Pictures Anthology, which is from Supermassive Games, the creators of Until Dawn. So it's like a horror adventure game for the QTEs. Meaningful choices, fleshed out characters, and lots of jump scares. And I reviewed Man of Medan last year, but Moody never played it, so we played it cooperatively, 2 player. We played the shared story mode, which was interesting because it was a different way that I had played to what I had played Man of Medan the year before. It worked differently. But I want to kick it straight over to you, Moody, because I want to hear your thoughts as someone who hadn't played Man of Medan and didn't really know as much of what to expect going in as I did.
Well, I kind of knew what I was kind of going to expect because I've played Until Dawn, what I thought was an incredible game when that came out. I absolutely loved that game for the PlayStation 4. So I kind of thought I knew what I was going to get here, and it was basically what I thought I was going to get. Interesting characters with an interesting little story that was intertwining, slowly unraveling, made you guess, made you think which way we're going to go and everything like that. I thought it was overall a visually nice looking game. The motion capture for the characters was really, for like facial features and everything like that. I thought that was pretty spot on. They did a really good job for that. The story I enjoyed. There were some technical issues that you and me had,
We
which
did, yeah.
did damper it personally a little bit because I wanted to go a certain way, but because of certain things we had to go the other way because it just wasn't working. It just kept crashing for us, and it happened a few times for us after that as well,
Yeah,
which
it was
was
like twice. Where the theory is that your game crashed twice,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
because I was connected to you for the multiplayer, it was saying my connection wasn't working. I feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
that's what had happened. I feel like that's what we figured out was happening.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it seemed like a technical issue on my disc. I think so, but
right.
it's been returned now anyway. So, but no, I enjoyed this game. I don't think it's spectacular or anything like that. I think it's a fun time. It's a good one-time game. Like, I don't think I can go back. I don't think I'll go back to it. Like I've just said, I've just returned it every night, but I can't see myself going back to it, even when it probably comes to Game Pass because the other one's on there right now. So I'll be very surprised if Little Hope doesn't come on Game Pass sometime next year, in time for the next one. I guess it's going to be released that next year. I enjoyed it, but I think I enjoyed it because we did it. I think if
Right.
it was by
Yeah.
myself, I'd be like, especially with the technical issues, and I think I would have been whacking my head out with it. I've been going like, no, I'm done type of mentality personally with it. But no, I enjoyed it, but there were some problems for it.
Yeah. Like I enjoyed it. Like I loved Man of Medan last year. For the same, but in the same way. And I said this when I put it on my Game of the Year list last year, where it was like the experience that I had with Man of Medan was only so good because I was sitting on a sofa with Keith and Russell the entire time. Like we played it for a charity stream last year, and we just played it start to finish. We played movie night, which is different to what we played here. But
Yeah,
like if I hadn't have played with them, I would have probably still enjoyed it, but I wouldn't have thought of it for a Game of the Year list. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have been. I would have been impressed, but not overly impressed. Like it was a good game, not a great game. What made it a great game was being able to play it with my friends. And it's the same thing here, where it's like we played Little Hope. The two of us played it together. We were in party chat, and start to finish, we played it all in one day. Pretty much one go, and we just did it, and it was a lot of fun to play it with someone else.
Yeah.
To like bounce the story around and the shocking twists. Somebody who like maybe called what was going on in a certain section of the game right at the end of the game.
Well, I don't think it really revealed it because of what the
It didn't.
character
No,
said.
it didn't matter.
So,
It like I don't want to get into spoilers or anything, but
yeah, we're not going to get into spoilers. We don't want to do
that.
yeah.
But the like, there's a whole like spoiler discussion we could have about the ending of Little Hope that we'll probably not get around to. But yeah, like the reason I like this hit for me as well as much as Man of Fantastic was again because we were playing it together. We were playing Shared Story. So when I played Movie Night, we picked we got all the the controllable characters between the three of us, and then we just kind of divvied them up. So when it was someone's scene, for example, you would just that person would have the controller and they would play it, and then another character's scene, and then you'd pass the controller. Whereas with Shared Story, what happened was we were both playing simultaneously the entire time. Even when characters had split up, Moody would be controlling one character in one group, I would be controlling another character in another group. That in and of itself, like, there's some very entertaining moments. Like, Moody would just be like having this mundane time, looking around, like exploring this thing and being like, "Oh look, I found this interesting newspaper article." Meanwhile, I would be on the other end of the chat, like, "Ah!" like because I was getting like fucking jump scared or whatever. And then it would flip around vice versa, where I would just be like doing nothing, and then Moody would just be like lost in the fog, like like terrified that something was behind him.
That is true. I did do that.
Like, so that was a fun time experience, like playing it multiplayer. Like the story was cool, it was interesting, the characters were good. Like I feel like Supermassive do a good job making characters. Like they're not necessarily like the likable plucky heroes like you would expect from games. Like most of these characters are annoying, or like they're a bit dickish. I don't really like them very much. Like I hated Angela. Like for the vast portions of the game, I was like fucking. And then just as I was finally getting on with her, some stuff happened. But the like they're good at making characters who feel like fleshed out. Like they're not like super deep or anything, like because they can't be. The game is like 4.5 hours, 5 hours long. Yeah. And I feel like your running time's pretty much going to be standard because it's very much it's very deliberately paced because it's like a lot of cutscenes with a little bit of exploration and then like a lot of QTEs and other gameplay. But yeah, like Until Dawn will always be the high watermark, and I don't know if they're ever going to hit it in this Dark Pictures anthology, purely because these are shorter games that are more like compact.
Well, I think they've lost the shock horror part now. Like it went. Like I remember watching that PSX, I believe, conference years ago where they showed the gameplay and like the guy was asking the crowd which way what should I pick, which was absolutely incredible. It hooked us all in. Now we've seen the gimmick from them. I think they need to change it up. They can keep the same type of style and all like that, but I think maybe not do horror because you've done that already. Now I think you need to change it up. Maybe do a detective thing, a crime one, maybe, or a gangster thing, or sci-fi thing, or something. You can do something different, but have the same type of gameplay. But I think they need to change it up.
I think they need to. I don't know if they need to change it up out of the horror genre, but I think it might be time to do a different type of horror, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because it's basically been 3 games in a row where it's essentially been a B movie, like, right? Like Until Dawn was a teen slasher movie, essentially, as a video game. Man of Medan was basically the same. It was a teen slasher movie, and essentially this one kind of is as well. Like it's just that some of the characters aren't teenagers this time.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the characters are older, but it's still the same. It's still that same type of horror. Like it's not psychological in any way. It's not gonna get under your skin and unsettle you. It is here purely to be entertaining and to make you jump with fright at times.
Yeah.
Or to do the thing of just being like, oh my god, what the fuck is that? Oh god, run, run. You know what I mean? Like to get that adrenaline pump. Like
Mm-hmm.
it does one specific thing and it does it well. Like absolutely does it well through its gameplay and its story. Um, I imagine the ending's quite divisive, so I'm just going to put it out there without saying anything specific about the ending. I liked the ending. I thought it was fine. It was interesting. Like they could have ended it a few minutes earlier and it still would have been fine, but I feel like it was better for the twist,
Yeah.
essentially.
I think the
Um,
ending's all right. Yeah, I think
yeah,
I had no qualms with the ending. I just, yeah, I had a fun time. Like I said, I had a fun time, but I don't think it's gonna be like high up on there for me overall.
no, I don't think it's going to be high up on there. Again, the only reason I'll think of it, if I do think of it, and I think 2020 has been a stronger year for games than 2019, was, but the only reason I'd think of it is because of that multiplayer component, which is just genius for this type of game. Like Until Dawn, like the big reason they made the multiplayer for the Dark Pictures anthology was because they watched a lot of streams of Until Dawn, and it was like multiple people were playing it, making decisions and stuff like that, or even taking control, even passing the controller between like different scenes and stuff. And it's like it's a great way to play Until Dawn, and it's an even better way to play this because now it's designed to do that.
That's true.
Like there were some issues for me. I feel like the movement and when you get to like control the characters directly by moving them around, I feel like it's really clunky.
It's clunky as hell.
Yeah.
Very clunky.
Like I don't know if it's starting to grate on me more and more because it was clunky in Until Dawn, but Until Dawn terrified me from start to finish,
Mm-hmm.
and it was clunky in Man of Medan, but Man of Medan was like kind of novel, even though it was their second game because of that movie night sitting on the sofa playing it with friends,
Yeah.
and now it's like cool. I'm in the third game and it's still clunky, and it's like you need to tighten this up a bit now.
Yeah.
There were the issues that we mentioned before, the technical issues. There were only two. Twice it happened. But it was a bit of a pain to try and sort out, and then you have to sit through the loading screens and like it can take you and re-invite Moody back into a party, close the game down, stuff like that. So it did take a bit of time to get going again, and it's the kind of game where it's like you don't want that momentum to stop because like the first time it happened was right in the middle of action, essentially. Like there were things happening and it was right in the middle of that where we had to then take like what was probably a 10-15 minute break to then get back into it and be like, okay, but we're not in that same space that we were.
Yeah, the glitches sucked it out of it a little bit, sucked us out of it for me.
Yeah, other than that, like I say, the performances were really good from the cast. Especially Will, I want to say it's Will Poultier was the main character.
I think that's his name, yeah.
Yeah, like I recognized him. He was the only one of the cast I actually recognized straight away. But yeah, he was fantastic. I thought the other cast members were fantastic. The monster design was really good. There was a variety of different types of monsters in this game, and each one was very unsettling. Like, which I thought was great. When you have to get up and close with them, and when they're the focus of a particular scene, it was good. It did this weird thing though, where it kind of set up some stuff that, in the beginning, it set up some stuff, and then it never followed through on it in the story, which yeah, I don't know, that kind of sucked a little bit.
Trying to find him.
I figured you were doing something, and I was like, I can't keep talking. I'm gonna have to make you talk.
I was listening. Yeah, yeah. Like how it ends, it all depends on what your thoughts are with the other characters. If you enjoyed the other characters, then the ending might be a little disappointing for you. If you didn't enjoy the other characters, I think you're gonna be like type of mentality, and you're gonna be fine with it.
Yeah, like I enjoyed the characters, but at the same time, like I enjoyed the ride. Like, I'm here
I
for
don't
the
know.
anthology at this point. Like, I really am. Like, the curator comes back, the guy who talks to you in between each scene, and he gives you the cryptic hints, and you don't understand the hints until something really terrible has already happened. And then he's like, "I fucking told you," and then you're like, "You did, yeah, you did."
Yeah, yeah. His name is Plotter. Plotter? Poulter.
Polter. Alright, cool.
Polter.
I was close.
Polter. Yeah.
But yeah, like I like the meta narrative aspect of it. I'm wondering if they're gonna do something with that, because it's the only connecting thing between the two games is the curator. So I'm wondering if there's gonna be some sort of meta narrative to the whole anthology, because there's a point where he picks out the book, which is the story of Little Hope, and the book before it has a picture of a ship on it. And it's like, cool, that was obviously Man of Medan, and then there's two books after it, that are also there, and it's just like, because in Man of Medan, what we noticed in the background of some of the scenes, there were these cloaked figures, almost like watching what was happening.
Yeah.
Like, you could see them sometimes. I didn't notice anything like this in here. So I'm just wondering if, like, maybe there were plans for a meta narrative and then they've kind of shelved them, or if they're still doing it, or maybe I just wasn't observant enough and I didn't see these cloaked figures this time around because they hid them a bit better. But I kind of want to hope that there is something like larger to all of this, and if it's just a series of short horror stories, then that's fine. I'm cool with that. But there's a part of me that hopes that it's not, because I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think hopefully they do have a tie-in element by the end of it, but it's going to be fascinating to see what it is and if they do. But it does seem like it's kind of pushing towards more a not so element type of mentality. I'm not sure.
Yeah, like, if it's not, it's not. If it is, it is. I'll be fine either way. I think it would be cooler. It'd be cooler for if it was, but that's a me thing, right?
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
The QTEs were a lot better than this game. I should point that out, because one of the things that frustrated me about Man of Medan were the QTEs could be very abrupt and very surprising, to the point where literally I got a character killed because a QTE flashed up on the screen in a position on the screen I wasn't looking, and I wasn't ready for it. And a character literally died. Whereas in this one, like, they've improved it so that an icon appears on the screen. So not only are you prepared for the QTE that's about to follow, but you're also prepared for what kind of QTE it is, because different actions have different buttons, essentially. So, like, there'll be a jump or a climb, which is A. Or if, like, a fist animation comes up, as if to say you're going to attack, you know that is either going to be you pushing X, or you're moving the analog stick to aim at the circle, and then pulling the trigger to do whatever the action is. So, like, you're prepared for it, which is welcome. Like, after Man of Medan, like, it can make surprising QTEs can make the game a bit frantic, but a lot of surprising QTEs can get really annoying.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's definitely understandable. It's good that they seem like they've took some advice on.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's really nice to. It was a really nice change to, like, because I like to, like, still be stressed out and still be like, oh shit, oh, like, don't fuck this up, but also to be like prepared. Like, I know I have to do a thing right now.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a button push coming up. Okay, cool, I'm prepared. And if I screw the button push up, it doesn't feel as bad. I can't blame the game.
Even when we messed up the buttons.
Yeah, we both did it. Like, we both messed up QTs.
I don't think any of us could get the stay silent one done, could we?
I did one successful, the one with the heartbeat.
Yeah.
I did one successful one.
Yeah, I never did.
And
It
it
came
was
up so fast, I was just like, oh!
Like, yeah, the first time it came up, and I hit the button, like, straight away, and I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Because that was in the first game. So once I realized what it was, I was like, I still screwed it up multiple times.
Yeah. Because it's a quick time event game, I was just thinking, oh, press!
Yeah, it's quick! Ah, no, that was... Oh, no, I had to not be quick.
Yeah, something like
shit,
that, yeah.
who would have thought? Cool. So I'm going to switch it over to talk about me for the rest of this podcast.
Yeah, so bye, guys!
Because I bought a couple of... There's an indie sale on PlayStation, and I'm sending my PS4 off with as much of a bang as I can. I bought a couple of indie games. These are games that came out on PC last year, but we had a discussion between the two of us, and we made a ruling that if they come out on consoles this year, they're eligible for Game of the Year. And I was like, cool, that means I can both play them and review them and not just play them. So I'm reviewing two indie games that came out on PS4 this year. And the first one was Superliminal, which was a really, really, really fucky puzzle game. Like, it messes with you so much. I'm actually going to bring up the store page because I want the description off of the store page. Because I don't want to get the description of this game wrong. So it's a first person puzzle game. Essentially, you're a person who volunteers for a dream therapy, basically. Like it starts off very quickly, and like you get the impression that it's like, oh, you know, if you're having trouble sleeping or you're depressed or X, Y, and Z, like we're gonna try this dream therapy, and you try it, and then the rest of the game is you in this very surreal dream world. And you're solving puzzles which are based on things like force perspective and optical illusions. And it's like you just wander around and like say like you need to get out, like there's a door and it's like right up the top, right? And there's like and there's like this little block of cheese on the floor, and it's like, you know, the stereotypical Edam cheese where it's like a triangle shape basically, and it's like cool, and it's tiny, and the door's all the way up there. But because the game is like it's based around perspective and force perspective, so like, you know, if you pick something up and you hold it up, and it looks bigger. It looks bigger than it actually is, and that's how this game works. So if you pick up something small and then you hold it up and like you push it up into the air, and then it looks bigger, and then you drop it and it hits the ground and it is bigger.
Okay. That's a bit trippy. That's very trippy.
And essentially a lot of the game is based around this. So like a lot of the puzzles are based around like using that to your advantage. Like there'll be 2 buttons, say, and I'm going to try not to spell too many puzzle solutions. These are all from like the very first area of the game. There's 2 buttons, right? And like there are only very specific objects in each environment that you can pick up. And like one of the objects you can interact with is the exit sign. So there'll be like an emergency exit sign above the door, and you can pick that up, and then you put it on one button, and that opens the door. And you're like, cool, I'm through the door. And then you go through the door, but there's another shut door, and there's 2 buttons in that room. So what you have to do is you have to like make the exit sign gigantic, so that it can touch both buttons. And that's as normal as this game gets. Because this game goes places with its ideas. Like, I don't want to spoil any puzzles. Like the footage in there's a couple of puzzle solutions in here. It's probably as generic as I could make it because I didn't want to spoil any. Because it took me about 3 hours to finish it. This was very much a game I'd played throughout in an afternoon. But there's some really great ideas, like, because it really starts to go deep into the dream logic. Because the whole world is essentially a dream world. So this is like there'll be a moment where it's like there's a door connected to a house, and the house is a tiny little model on the table in front of you. And it's like you can pick that up, and you could walk through it, and you're inside the house. And then you walk through the back door, and you walk out the back of the house, and then like you can make the house bigger, you can move the house around, you can literally cause an infinite loop by like putting the house door in front of the house, and then it's just like you keep walking in and out of the same door. Like it messes with you in terms of how the objects work. Like there's an optical illusion on the screen right now, where it's like I was walking towards a wall only it turns out and I don't know the correct technical term for this. It's an optical illusion, where it's like you're walking up and it's literally a corridor with a corner, but it's painted to look like a solid wall until you approach it.
Hmm.
So you just walk towards it, and then you're like, oh wait, no, hold on, this is a a thing. Like
This
there'll
is
be a
something.
there'll be a giant chess piece on a button, but it's not doing anything until you walk up to it and you realize it's an optical illusion painted across the floor and the wall. And there's nothing there. And it's just like, and then it gets even weirder after that.
Weird.
Like, I'm currently watching the footage and I'm currently watching myself try to make an emergency exit sign or ramp so I can walk up or over a wall. And, like, it uses its concept really well.
Yeah.
Like, and I really loved every moment of it, and I got stuck like multiple times, like really badly, because it's the type of puzzle game where you have to approach it from its own logic. So like, there's real world logic, and then there's game logic, and you have to understand everything you've learned about the game up until the point that you're up to. And understand how the game works. Not necessarily what will logically work, but what would logically work inside the game.
Okay.
And there's only a couple of times where it's a bit too far-fetched to sort of figure out what to do very easily. Like there's a puzzle solution I stumbled upon by accident, which I'm not going to spoil. But like, if you can like wrap your head around how the game works, you'll be okay. You'll be good. And you'll have a really enjoyable time because you'll feel really smart. Like when you get some of these play, you figure out what the hell to do in whatever room that you're in. Sometimes you will feel really smart.
Oh, well, that's good.
Because it requires like it's never like massively challenging to the point where you're stuck for ages. But it requires a lot of lateral thinking. You've really got to think outside the box, which obviously makes sense because it's dream logic. It doesn't make sense. And there's a story going through it, but the story is just whatever.
All right. Well, is there anything that didn't work for you? Was there some glitches or some gameplay mechanic or something?
No, I never had some glitches. Like I say, there's a couple of puzzles where the solution is a bit too obscure. Like if there is one in particular where it's like it throws I almost want to say a new mechanic. I wouldn't really call any of the things in this game mechanics, but there's like it throws a mechanic at you, without really sort of priming you for it. So you can sort of see where it's going, but it's hard to like figure out how to enact the solution, if that makes sense.
No, I get you. I get you.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Like, everybody always goes on about how Portal's the greatest puzzle game in history. It's not. Antichamber is the greatest puzzle game in history. And like this literally did make me think of Antichamber a few times. So like when I'm sitting here playing your weird surreal puzzle game and it's making me think of my favorite puzzle game I've ever played and one of my favorite video games. Like, you've definitely done something right. I feel.
That is true. If you've made Amy think and tickled their fancy, you've done something right there. I've seen that before from you. Some games that don't look like it would work for you, just like don't know what it is, but this is working for me and I'm liking it.
Yeah, like this because puzzle. Like I'm sitting here talking about a puzzle game that I love, and as you know, Moody, I'm not partial to many puzzle games. Like it's not generally my kind of thing. Like I picked up The Witness whenever it came out years ago, and I was like, cool, I get it, and I appreciate what it's doing, but it did not vibe for me at all. Like Portal 2, I enjoyed the story and the characters, but I feel like I got everything I needed from Portal out of the first one. And then it was like the second one, it was just a bunch of mechanics, and I was like, I'm not really down for this. Like I say, I go back to Antichamber every time. As sort of like this, it's one of my favorite games I've ever played. And as a puzzle game, I absolutely think it's one of the best puzzle games ever made. And there were moments in Superliminal where it did something, or it was really clever, or like it said something, and it made me think, oh yeah, this is like Antichamber. Like, and again, if I'm recalling one of my favorite video games ever, this game is pushing the right buttons for me, and I highly recommend you check it out. It's on sale on PS4 at the moment.
Very good, very good. Glad you enjoyed it. Like I say, especially as it's one of the ones that was one of the big ones for last year and for PC, and it's come over console.
Yeah, I was gutted I missed it when it came at PC last year. I don't remember why I missed it. And I'm glad like I've got this opportunity because I've got this list of console releases in 2020 that I've missed before. Where it's like, cool, I'm going to try and get back to a few of these because I'm really interested in playing them. And Superliminal is one, and it's really checked a lot of boxes for me.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And the second one I can't talk about too much because I've only played about an hour and a half of it. I've been meaning to play more, but I've got this playoff run going in NHL 21, which I can just keep going back to that because I'm like I'm right in the thick of it now. But the second one is telling lies, which is an FMV mystery game by Sam Barlow, who also did Her Story a few years ago, which is a game I played and really liked. And again, I missed Telling Lies last year, so I've picked it up this year because it's been released on PS4. That is actually moving. Sorry. I clicked the footage and it's Logan Marshall, whatever his name is. He was just staring at the screen and I was like, is that frozen? No, it's not frozen. He's just staring. Yeah, so this is like a mystery game. But a big part of the mystery is figuring out even what the story is. So this game works very similarly to Her Story. So in this game, you're a detective of some kind, I think. And there's an opening cutscene where you walk into a building, you sit down in front of a computer, and you've got the software up, and it's the same software. So what you can do with this software is if you search a word in this program, it matches keywords in videos.
Okay.
So there's a story here told in these video chats. There's 4 main characters. There's obviously other characters in it as well. But essentially there's these 4 characters who are video chatting between each other or between other characters. And you search keywords, you watch the videos, and then maybe you'll get another word out of that. So like say the game starts you off and it types the word love for you, and it starts you off, and there's like 39 matches, but the game only gives you the top 5 for each word that you put in, so you can't just write the and find all of the videos because every video has the word the in it. So it starts you off on those, and then you'll watch those 5 videos, and then in those 5 videos maybe someone mentions a place or a name or some other kind of keyword. So then you go, okay, cool, like someone mentioned Detroit. Right, cool. So then you go back to this thing and you search Detroit, and then it brings up more videos and different videos. So then you watch those, and then maybe someone will mention a name in one of those videos. So then you search the name, and then you get more, and then it goes on like that, and like that's how you uncover the story. Because when you start, you don't even know what the story of this game is.
Yeah.
Like from the first 5 videos that come up, and I've got his name written here. Logan Marshall Green, who is the main character, and he's like talking to his wife, played by Carrie Bishop, from Scrubs. I know she's been in a bunch of other things, but she was in Scrubs season 9, and that's what I'm gonna remember her for until the day I die.
She made an impression.
She and you watch those, and you sort of get an impression of who the character is. So he's an undercover cop of some kind. I know that much. And he's clearly doing some stuff and talking to a couple of other characters. And at this point, because finding the story is part of the game, I'm going to refrain from going into any more detail.
That's fair, yeah. And you're not that far in it at the same time, so
Yeah. So essentially, you watch the videos. You're looking for them for clues. Essentially, words. Um, you can rewind them, fast forward them. You can watch the whole thing. You can start the videos from the moment where the word that you're looking for is picked up. So you can literally, if you're looking for Detroit, you can play each video from the first moment someone says Detroit, and maybe that gives you the context that you're looking for, specifically. Or you can watch the whole thing and maybe pick up a couple of different things, different words and stuff like that. You can also the whole game is subtitled, and you can literally click on words in the subtitles, which I thought was a really cool touch. So like if a word comes up, you just click on it and it can do the things for you, which is really cool. And that's the entire game essentially. That's all you do. You're just watching these video chats between these people. The only interesting thing, which is good for the story, it's good for the mystery, it's good for the gameplay. It can sometimes be bad for levels of engagement. Is when you're watching, say, Logan Marshall Green's video call, 9-minute video call with another character. In every video call, you're only getting the audio of the person you're watching.
yeah.
So if Logan Marshall Green is video calling Carrie Bishy for 8 minutes, there are these big long pauses where Carrie Bishy's speaking and Logan Marshall Green's just like responding to it. It makes it really intriguing because you're getting half of the conversation, and it's like I need to see the other half of this conversation because like for mystery reasons, for just character building reasons sometimes, or for just being like, why the fuck did you say that? Like I found this video, it was 9 minutes long. It was so confusing. I had no idea what was happening. But right next to it was a clip of the same length of a different character. So I was like, that must be the other side of whatever the fuck I just watched. And I clicked it, and then I was like, it gave me like immediately all the context I needed. Where I was like, that's what's happening. Like that was so weird. But like that's a compelling part of the game as well. But it does sometimes mean you're watching a character reacting to another character talking for like a couple of minutes sometimes, and it's just like, like if someone was watching this podcast and only had your video feed up and couldn't hear me, like
Just me going like this right
just
now.
you going like this right now.
Compelling TV.
Yeah, it's not great, but at the same time, it adds to the mystery. Like, if this was a mystery of how Amy died, and this podcast was a piece of evidence, it would add to the mystery if you could only see what you were saying and couldn't see what I was saying. Yeah. I'm only, like I say, I'm only about an hour and a half in. Telling Lies is very much a game of I have no idea how long it will take. I imagine it will take a lot of different people, a lot of different amounts of time to play through it because of how it's set up.
Yeah.
Like, I could stumble across a keyword that just gives me so much, like, much faster or much slower than somebody else. Because I've got the app, I've got the thing on my phone, the text document, because it's one of those games, Moody, where you have to make notes. And I've got a text document on my phone, and it's just a list of keywords that I want to search because I'm like, maybe this is a clue. Like, and it's like I need to remember that because I need to go back to that. Like, you can bookmark stuff as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like that would work really well on PC. Whereas I feel like the user interface is fine on PS4, but a little bit clunkier just because it's on a controller. Like I'm looking at it right now. But yeah, the other good thing as well I should mention, in those long stretches of silence, you can just push the analog stick forward and fast forward through the video. And because everything's subtitled, you'll know exactly when someone starts speaking again.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, like you say, like it seems like it's an interesting little concept there. I don't think it's something for me personally, but I'm glad it's obviously got your attention right now for what you're going for, and with the little bit of like interesting nuances. What you're saying, like you're hearing one side, but you don't know what the other one's saying. So why is she looking so shocked now? What's that person saying on the other end of that phone? Type of mentality.
Yeah.
And it is very intriguing, and that's like, and that's what these. That's what I think a lot of people are noticing when it comes to like the indie game developers. Like they're going more outside the box when it comes to concepts, and they're looking more outside than ever before. And this one does seem like it's that little bit of uniqueness, which is kind of
Yeah, again, like FMV games are a lot like puzzle games for me, where it's like I won't like a lot of them, or I won't vibe with a lot of them, but ones that click really click. And Her Story was the one that really clicked for me. I remember playing it, the whole thing in like one night. Um, like there were probably things I'd never seen in that game, but like there's a moment in that game where it's like, okay, I've figured this out.
mm.
Um, and there'll be a moment in Telling Lies where it's like I still haven't figured out why I'm looking through these videos yet. Like as a character in the world. And it's like, but I'm compelled to keep looking. I'm like Daniel Craig in Knives Out. whereas like compelling though. Like it's compelling though. Um the performances are really, really solid. Like considering it's just actors talking to a camera. You know what I mean? Like the entire
Yeah.
game is actors talking to a camera and performing directly to a camera. And there's some fantastic performances. Like everything I've seen of Logan Marshall Green so far is phenomenal. Like he does such a good job of being his character. I was almost
Yeah,
going to say of being like a certain thing, and I was like, no, being his character because I really don't want to get into any specifics.
that's
Like
fair.
I've loved him in like films I've seen him in. Upgrade on Netflix, go check it out. It's brilliant. And like seeing him in this is just like he's just a really good actor.
Isn't he the Tom Hardy look like? What if
He's the
I'm
guy
going
you
for
call
Tom?
if you can't get Tom Hardy.
Yeah. So they obviously went for Tom Hardy and they got this guy instead.
Yeah, no,
No, I've seen
he's
him in
great.
some interesting stuff as well. Like
He's
he was, I saw him in Prometheus. I like him in Prometheus. Does some stupid things in Prometheus, but a lot of humans in that film do a lot of stupid things in that movie. But yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying. Like I say, some very intriguing, unique games that we've got here. Like we started with Phasmophobia, which is obviously early access, and then you got a little hope that if you're a horror person type of gamer, right up your alley for a lot of things. Yes, there's some things about that game, but yeah, there's some very intriguing games you've got here that we've talked about today, I think.
yeah, like you know me, Moody. Weird, quirky indie games. It's my jam.
Yeah.
Yes, I like the big mainstream Final Fantasies and Last of Us, but like
And
when
what next week's going to be?
and next week and the week after, where we're talking about COD, and Yakuza, and Assassin's Creed, and all the big games, but it's like I love these moments where I can just step back and play like a game like Telling Lies or a game like Superliminal, right? Like that, like I love these types of games a lot. Um, and so it's cool that I was able to just knock a couple out. Um, in this sort of like little almost mini holiday that we had, like of just like not big releases. It's like cool. I am the mistress of my own destiny. I can choose whatever I want to play, and it's like and it's telling that it was like I could choose whatever I wanted to play, and I went straight towards these two really quirky, weird indie games. Like I didn't even think, oh, maybe I could play such and such, or maybe I could try and finish Ghost of Tsushima. I was like, nah, I'm gonna play this weird puzzle game and this other weird FMV game.
It obviously worked.
Yeah, and I did. While we're on the subject of FMV games, just before we finish up, I do want to shout out another game. It's like another game which is like I loved it. It's one of my probably favorite games of the past sort of decade. Like, I don't think of it as highly as Antichamber, but I still think of it really highly. It's called The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker, and it is a fantastic FMV game. Absolutely fucking brilliant. Like me and Keith played it together. It's not a multiplayer game, but me and Keith
Yeah.
played a massive bunch of it together, and it's so good. We had the developers following along with our Let's Play series and everything. But yeah, Telling Lies is a really good game. Where it lands on the old GOTY thermometer, I have no idea. It's a game I'm definitely going to need to finish before I can even think about how much I enjoyed it, because it's very much hinges on whether it was worth the journey. But right now, it's compelling, and I'm really looking forward to playing more of it.
Well, that's good.
And also, when you sit down in front of the computer, and then it obviously, like, there's the cut into the game screen, but the entire time you're playing the game, you can see the reflect. You can see, like, you know how, like, you can use, if you're looking at a monitor in daylight, when you sit in front of a computer, you can see that sort of dullish reflection of of your outline on them. You can see that the entire game.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, that's really cool, because you never forget that you're a person sitting in front of the computer, it's not just you watching these videos. Like, you know what I mean? I thought that was a really nice touch.
That's really cunning, that.
And also, the computer has solitaire, so if you get stuck, you can play a solitaire. Think about things
within a game.
That's it. That's everything. That's everything we wanted to talk about. Indie games with galore. My kind of podcast.
Yeah, and then don't worry, ladies. Next week we've got you. We've got you back.
Oh, next week we've got you covered.
Game.
Moody's got a big 50-hour RPG. I've got a big 50-hour RPG, and we might try and sneak in a couple of games in between that.
Yeah, we might try and sneak in a card.
Might try and sneak in a card, or sneak in someone who's played a card.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, the game I'm probably going to be playing next week is going to be Valhalla. So
yeah,
I'm hoping to get Spider-Man next week, but obviously we won't be talking about that until the week after. So that gives me more time, obviously, to play it. So that's going to be a little bit extra help for me.
Yeah, next week we won't be touching any PlayStation 5 games that have come out on PS4. So no Bug Snacks, no Spider-Man, thank you. No Sackboy. We're doing a PS5 launch special podcast.
For the UK.
For the UK, so that will be the week after. Once I've
23rd.
Unboxed my PS5, and I'll be talking about all the PS5 games, and Moody will be talking about the PS4 or PC versions of the games that he's played. I need pee, so I'm going to say that's going to do it for episode 6 of the weekly review here at Words About Games. We hope you've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed making it. We've enjoyed this chill week.
Yeah, a little chill.
A little chill before the mayhem starts.
Yeah.
We love the mayhem too, though, let's be fair.
Says the person who has deadlines to hit for college.
Just make sure you play 50 hours of Assassin's Creed between your deadlines, you'll be fine.
So 50 hours between now and then, well, I've got 2 deadlines to launch. Okay, I think
you got this. You got this. All right. Before I pee my pants, I'm going to say
bye,
everybody. Good one. Star Trek Discovery Season 3 is awesome.